Welcome everybody to the CDR talk here at We Out Here. My name is Tony Wachiku. I run an organization called CDR, Create, Define, Release. We run events like this in London, Bristol, Manchester, and a bunch of other places in London with an amazing team. Big up Sophie, big up the team. And our whole premise is to create opportunities for producers and artists to develop what they're working on, develop their practice, whether it's music production, sound design. We run all kinds of programs, and part of our program is something called Sessions, where we get to talk to producers and artists and really kind of geek out on their production process and get to know a little bit more about them from the technical side of things. So I'm really, really pleased to have the one and only Ron Trent with us. Give it up.
Thank you. Good to be back, Tony. Good to be back, brother.
Yes, indeed. So just to give you a backstory, we've run CDR events for almost 20 years now. And when we transitioned from Plastic People to Bridge and Tunnel, Plastic People to Dance Tunnel, which is on Kingsland Road, was for a while until it closed. We did an amazing session with Ron where we combined get to know him as a producer and as an artist, but also we did like an amazing DJ set. And I've always been moved by his music. So to have the opportunity to actually talk to him about his career and also to see that reflected on the dance floor was an amazing experience. So we had to do it again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, particularly with this album project that you've got, this project called Warm. But before we talk about the actual project itself, let's talk about the gig last night. It was really, really amazing to see the show. Anyone check the show last night? Yeah, pretty special, right? Pretty special.
Glad you guys braved the rain.
But that even made it more spiritual, right? Do you know what I mean? You know, so it was a beautiful thing. So I remember right at the beginning of the show, you sort of said it's taken a minute to get here, right? So the album came out in 2022. So what happened from releasing to the album to actually having an opportunity to perform live? Why the delay?
Well, a combination of things happened. I started actually, I came up with this concept, believe it or not, in the 90s. And I didn't really get a chance to actualize it until about 2018. I started kind of working on stuff. So the idea was that it would be a band, something I could perform live. But I had the Lenny Kravitz problem. I created all the music, but I didn't have a band, right? So pandemic happened, right? So then I'm sitting and I have all this time. Then it gave me the ability, obviously, to be able to reach out to other collaborators, you know.
The whole online thing.
John Luc Ponte, obviously, the great Mamu, Ivan Conti, who, as we say in Yoruba culture, about our Tarun, is not with us anymore. I played his voice last night, as today's his birthday. I didn't know that. It's just, that's how spirit happens. Gigi Messine, of course, is on the album. But through my creative process, Alexis Morelos from Azimuth is on the album. But I had bought a couple of guitars and had been looking at them. I'm like, I'm gonna play them one day, and that's the pandemic allowed me to be able to play the guitars. So what you heard last night is a combination of all the production that I did in the studio with myself, and then that with the live musicianship on top of it. So of course I had to design the playback for stage, and that kind of thing.
Stuff the CDJ element to it you're doing.
But no, I had my actual, my sessions up on the computer, and then I had the mixer that helped design.
The actual sessions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but designed for the stage.
Yeah.
And then I had the Euphonia, which is a mix I helped design, by the way. Okay. If you haven't checked it out. It was a 2-year process.
What is that?
Euphonia is this new rotary mixer by Pioneer, believe it or not. And, I've had a long-term relationship with Pioneer, throughout the years of using their effects modules and this kind of thing. And through my travels in Japan, I would go and hang out. And then our man Lars, who works with myself, Louis Vega, and a few others, he started asking me questions. He's like, so, would you be interested in a think tank? So we created the mixer, which I stand by, and I'm a sound freak. If you don't know, I've always been I've always used Bozaks and Uris and stuff like that over the years. But this mixer is definitely also on the ENS. You know, but the idea was that we would create a mobile mixer that would be good for the club, but also be good for like listening rooms as well. But anyway, so I have that on stage too.
Okay.
So I'm playing guitar through that,
Mm-hmm.
and I have CDJ in that, and I have percussion, and I have all these instruments around me. These are things that I used in the album, and I wanted to be improvisational on stage if necessary. But at the same time, I'm a musical director. I had to so I have to kind of be on point for whatever's going on.
Yeah.
This live band thing is something else.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
Animal.
Yeah.
Different animal. We used to do similar things at Giant Step because I used to be the resident DJ for Giant Step in New York, which is it was a live meets DJ, live band DJ kind of thing, which is where the Groove Collectives comes out of.
Yep. Okay.
So I used to use the Groovies, which is what we call them, in a lot of my remixes and stuff like that I did for the Giant Step, but also they would come perform me on stage. So I was used to doing that more or less, and then I would play from time to time. But this is something else.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We can talk about your identities through this album a bit later on.
Sure.
But to kick things off, let's hear one of the tracks from the album, and then have a conversation.
Sure.
Yes. So to any discerning Rob Trent fan, they'll be like, what's happened here? But to those who know the know, will see that the influences are clearly from like kind of mid-80s, from the likes of, say, Jean-Luc Ponty, the kind of where kind of like, for me, where kind of analog went to digital, right? Where the emergence of, say, the Roland D50, DX7, when things went, slightly away from kind of using mini moogs, and where people really embraced digital technology. So to me, it just bang on that time.
Definitely live meets electronic, which I'm a big fan of. I'm a child of the 70s, obviously. But when I actually started first touching vinyl, I touched vinyl in the 70s because my father was a DJ and that kind of thing. But when I actually started playing, and obviously breakdancing was in at the time too.
Did you break dance?
Of course. You know what I'm saying?
Popper, what you?
I was more of a
floor,
popper.
floor, yeah,
Well,
popper. Okay, cool.
floor work wasn't my thing necessarily. You know what I'm saying? I'm busting my back, kind of. Nah, but definitely popping. You know, but you know, we were into Italo disco. We were into all those other kind of things. But the bottom line is that, to me, the marriage between live meets electronic is beautiful. It's heaven and earth. You know what I'm saying? Electronics being, you know, kind of like ethereal, and earth obviously being analog. And to me, that's the best marriage. But this tune in particular is like, you know, first of all, I did another album before this called Cinematic Travels. And if you listen to that, then you understand this.
This goes deeper, right? This goes
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a combination of all my powers together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people haven't really seen that side. I mean, you see pieces of, you know, things. I mean, I've been doing 12 inches and written our releases and a few albums here and there. I did a world music album with a guy by the name of Jay Rodriguez with Batido's album, which is an Afro-Cuban album. We even had Chucho Valdez on the album, the award-winning, you know, pianist from Cuba. But you know, I've done a lot of different things, and the thing is that when people like myself, or even like my brother Joe Classell, we've always had our fingers in a lot of different pots, especially when it comes to working with musicians and that kind of thing. Like, you know, like Joe's brothers, Cochise Classell, who plays for Eddie Palmieri, he's his drummer. And that because of that, he's been in a circle of a lot of different, you know, musicians. Myself, I've been around musicians and playing with musicians, some famous, some not, for a long time. But the bottom line is that people don't know that we're actually more in that world than we are in a lot of electronic stuff. And so this was kind of like a testament to that, in a sense of just showing you something else. But it's more or less something that I wanted to do, and I had been planning for a while. Believe it or not, I planned on doing this album when I was, you're gonna laugh, but when I had prescription records, I planned on doing this album.
That makes sense.
You know, and it just really just kind of came out that way. Started working in that direction. I did this track which became popular later, which is called Pop Dip and Spin. Danceable Boogie Delights, right? And I was kind of heading in that direction, kind of giving a ode to the sound of live meets electronic, right? And what that really means, and the garage and the loft and these other places. This album in particular, when I started, it was kind of a dedication to David from the loft, Dave Mancuso. You know what I'm saying?
So how did you start? Yeah, talk us through the kind of compositional process. You know, how did you get your ideas together? How did they start to formulate?
Well, you know, for me, I work at night normally, and a lot of, as Quincy says, the muses come out, and it just kind of it's a form of mediumship in a sense. You know, things just happen, and you know, I would start off with chords or what the case may be, or a sound that might inspire me, and then it would just flow. When I had the time, because I'm, you know, I come from a different era where, you know, you actually had to pay for studio time.
Yeah.
Which means you had to be
Yeah,
had to
yeah,
stealth.
right.
You had to get in there and get out of there because, you know, money was on the table. But now we have home studios, we can kind of, you know. But nowadays, the actual idea comes fast, but then I have to go back and process it. So I might make it one night, and next night I'm listening to it again to see if I need to add anything. Third night I'm listening to it again, and then I kind of move on, or I go back. You know, so yeah, and it works with different for every song. You know, and then sometimes there's a message that I want to get out. So, you know, this song matches with that, and it's going to lead to an eventual project. Right. This was very clear what I wanted to do. Actually, just kind of flowed. And I think, like I said, by 2020, and I had to sit. You know, I was like, okay, this is what it's going to be. You know.
So in that compositional process, were you clear about the kind of sounds you were looking for at the time? Were you very?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Once again, this is like all my powers. I mean, I grew up playing trap drums. I grew up playing congas, and I played trap drums. So now, you know, I'm able to play the drum set, electronic drum set, on the project. Now I can play guitar on it. Now I can play keys on it. And so, you know, it was just kind of like, you know, doing the Gemini thing. That's what kind of like what we do.
And it does, obviously, most of the tracks, except I think bar one of them, has like clearly live drums, right? So in the writing process, did you program drums first and then replace them with a live drummer? How did
No,
you
it was live.
All live.
Yeah, so I have have a drum set up there.
Mhm.
Versus, I mean, I have an actual drum set at home, but it's too fucking loud and boomy. So I have
Electronic drums.
yeah, so I have electronic
triggers.
drums with more
That
like
makes-
triggers. So
yeah,
like on
yeah.
all of it, I'm playing
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
And try to get it as close to live as possible.
Mhm.
You know, of course, I corrected some things in here and there to make it sound good.
As you would.
But you know,
As you would, yeah.
but it's all
Mhm.
hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in terms of the sounds, were they mostly analog hardware plugins? What was the setup?
Yeah, so I have like Logic comes with its own thing. I'm a Logic user, by the way.
Mhm.
But I got a hold of some software where it's like you actually get all these kits.
Mhm.
So you actually able to play like the full kit kind of thing, which is I was like, oh yes, I'm about to upgrade that as well. I'm not gonna get any plugs to the company that just yet. They got to sponsor me. But no, I'm looking to get this some more software on that tip. And yeah, I mean, I've already done album 2 already.
Okay.
So we're kind of finalizing that. There's some more collaborators that I might want to get on it. But when I first did the first album, I did about 30 tracks.
Okay.
And so what you're getting is,
Just a third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some of the old tracks are going to be on it and some new ones. I had started working with Ivan Conti as well on a new track, but then he passed. But he did do a recording for me, so I'm going to put that out.
Great.
And believe it or not, which was really sad, Casey Benjamin. You guys know who that is?
For those of us that don't, yeah, let's know. Who is he?
Yeah, so Casey Benjamin was the lead guy on the Robert Glasser project, played saxophone. He passed away untimely. We had started working on going in that direction. He was going to be on the first album, as a matter of fact. But so far, I got Stanley Jordan. You guys remember Stanley Jordan? Oh.
You're coming with the heavyweights, man.
Yeah. I mean, these are guys that are, obviously we hold in high regards. I wanted, if it works out, we'll see. But I was working on Herb Albert for one of these, because I have a track that I did, and so we were talking back and forth. We'll see. But I'm basically, tipping my hat at these people that helped raise me in terms of music as well.
Absolutely.
And influenced all of us, whether or not we know it or not.
Well, the next track I'm going to play is obviously Sphere, right? With Jean-Luc Ponty. When I saw that brought a big smile to my face because, again, listening to the album, I was instantly drawn to storytelling album in the fast lane. All the kind of, he was very in that world of combining synthesis, arpeggiation. Yeah. So it was like the fact that you had him on the album was just like amazing. So how did that come about?
Well, believe it or not, I did the track. Then I got a message about doing a remix for him with this remix project that a guy was curating, and then I put it out there in the ether, and then I spoke to my business partner about getting in contact with his team, and we made it happen. I mean, and when I sent him the track, his reaction was that, "Wow, you really must like me or something because you captured me," and he. The guy is like 81, 82 years old now. So he was like 79 when he recorded, and he sounds like he's 20 years old when he's playing on this. Check it out.
Absolutely. This is a Sphere. you doing to people, man?
Yes.
So, were you there when he was recording his part?
No, obviously during the time pandemic, it's all transfer the files. So he once again, for me, obviously, I'm a fan of this music, and I'm a fan of a lot of these people that I worked with. So it was like, I was elated that somebody that I respected so much was like, hey,
Absolutely.
it's I can't explain how it feels to be respected by somebody you respect so much. I mean, these guys have been raised on their music.
Absolutely.
I mean, this hi-fi culture, which is now becoming more popular, obviously with listening rooms. I mean, that was a part of the '70s. It was part of what do you call it, like high life, if you will, in the '70s. They have a stereo and some headphones and things of that nature, and record collection and that kind of thing. So these guys were part of that record collection that I grew up on. And your parents that treasure these pieces of vinyl.
Absolutely, of course.
Don't scratch my records. That kind of thing. And you grow up and you appreciate the vinyl and you appreciate the producers of the music and you appreciate these albums, and to be able to work with them, it's
Absolutely.
it's a great accomplishment.
And for me, I mean, I can imagine, it must have been a hair back in your head moment, hearing, that legend on your track, right?
I remember how I felt about that, and when I got the track back from Alexis Morelos from Azimuth, I mean, I probably got a tear or two in my eye. You know what I mean? Seriously, it was really emotional. But and that was definitely an emotional moment for me. I was like, wow, I think my mother, because I take care of my mom too. That's another reason why, she might have been in the other room. I think she came out and was like, "Who's that?" No, I know that. Oh, okay, yeah. So it was cool. It was cool. Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. So you got the stems back. He's obviously smashed it. Sounds to me like he's just went for it, just one take
Dude,
almost.
he sounds like he's 20.
Yeah, absolutely, it's a beautiful.
I said he was 79. He was like 79.
No, amazing.
He sounds great, man, and he's still doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything works out. We're gonna have him on the album again.
Yeah, okay.
We're trying to find the right jam, but it's it's one in a can, man. I mean, one of my accomplishments I'm really proud of. Yeah.
So again, with this track, it opens up with a, obviously again synth line from Logic. You're saying, right? Without.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm
So
once again, I don't want to get too many plugs on the software I use, but I use a lot of Moogs and synths and old synths and that kind of things I used to use back in the day, and stuff that I'm familiar with, and trying to use them the right way. Using them within the character and the respect of how I think they should be used.
Yep.
To make it enjoyable.
Mhm.
The music is to be enjoyed, and from a listening perspective, all the way down to making you feel, tribal and you want to take off your clothes or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So, so I try to use the sounds in that way too.
Absolutely.
To evoke.
So with this is, it's a combination of kind of arpeggiated sounds and, obviously played. Are you very much a kind of hit record and play, or do you record in sections? What's your approach to
it depends on what, how can I say? It depends on what I'm trying to do and the story I'm trying to tell in the song.
Okay.
If it's a song that's, goes for the template, 16 bar verse here, and then a bridge and blah 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 blah. Okay, or if it, some songs don't require that.
Mm-hmm.
Some songs are just a transition,
Mm-hmm.
and they just kind of rise. And if you listen to my music, that's kind of like what I do anyway. I like to I do long records normally. That was the other challenge. These songs are like 3 minutes, 4 minutes. I'm used to doing 10-minute songs, 8-minute songs, So it was a totally different approach, different headspace, and I guess I was ready to do it, So.
And how did you self-edit? Getting from a 10-minute mindset to a 3.5 minutes. Was it like, did you record it for 10 minutes and edit, or did you make the template literally 3.5 minutes?
Well, what I did is I kind of went into the headspace of being a younger person and listened to the radio. And you know, a lot of those songs that we listened to growing up were like they were made for the radio, 3 or 4 minutes. You know, and so I kind of like was like, okay, well, if I wanted to hear the radio right now, what would it sound like? You know what I mean? Seriously, that was the headspace, and I was in there. So you know, okay, that's enough. That's enough of that story. You know, 3 or 4 minutes of the song, boom, next, you know, and that kind of thing. Some songs required 5 minutes to do what it needed to do, as far as I was concerned. So it was more of a, you know, just putting my, you know, setting a template in my head and then following that, you know, but within the spirit of where I was trying to go. Yeah.
Before I see if these guys want to ask some questions, you know, obviously on this album there's a lot of collaboration on there, and you worked with a lot of musicians, obviously for the live show. I mean, what's your approach to collaboration when it comes to, you know, co-writing tracks with artists and producers?
Well, okay, so I had Karungbin on the album too, and that came out of a relationship of me doing a remix for them. And so how that started, I had done like a jam that was more of a Santana-ish kind of record, or what I would consider more like a loft record. And I was like, you know what, you know, my man Rob from Karunga could really be dope on this. We did some rocky stuff and blah blah blah, and then Laura and my man Beans on the drum. I was like, yeah, this would be cool. So I did a jam, and it was a 4 on the floor. We set up the business, and then I sent them the jam. They sent me back something totally different. It was Karungbin style.
How did you feel about it?
It was fine.
Okay.
Because I just looked at it as like being like a Karungbin version, you know? And because they have a very specific psych rock, you know, sound. And I figured, okay, well, I'll come back and I'll do a remix the way that I want to do it. But obviously, when they sent me back all the parts, I did my own version. And that's the version that came out. But on the album, the only, when I worked with Gigi sent me a track. And then I built on top of that, which is that mirror. And played percussion, and then we sent it back. We went back and forth, but everything else was me creating the track and then sending it to the artist and then playing on top of it.
And then editing, you know, almost
crafting once I got it in,
Great.
Exactly. Cool. You know, adding the sound and the sauce, if you will, to make it all come together.
And what is the Ron Trent warm sauce?
Wow. So
come on now.
Can't get into all of it. But I mean, the idea is, that I wanted to be warm. You know what I mean? I wanted it to evoke making you feel good, and wanting to listen, getting your attention and making you want to sit down and listen to music. People nowadays, especially with everything moving so fast, they don't get a chance to really sit down and listen to music like we did back in the day. I mean, I'm not 500 years old or anything like that, but, I collect a lot of records. And music appreciation is really about sitting back and really listening to the music, listening to the sound, listening to how it's recorded.
And learning the tracks.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. Seeing who played on the records, the engineers, this kind of thing, going through that process. So I wanted to, kind of like pay tribute to that, and so my EQing, because I did all the engineering on it. So
mix all in the box or on the desk?
On the desk.
Okay, cool.
And so that we had a post engineer, obviously, for the mastering, but I did all the engineering.
Yeah.
So I put on all the hats, but the idea was that I wanted to be in all these different spaces, and I've learned all these different things in my career, and so I put it into to the album. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, and you hear it. So I've learned and picked up a lot of things from the engineers that I've worked with. I still have a lot more to learn, but and I'm a student of sound, so I kind of put that in there. I wanted it to be like it's what do you call it? An album was like it's a ancient future album. You've heard it before, but you haven't. And that's kind of like what it is.
It definitely has that kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, man.
I mean, considering you had all the hats for this record, was there any time that you thought you were, I guess, too deep in it? Just it was too much in terms of.
No, I quite enjoyed this ride. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to step away from it too. I mean, I get it. I've had remixes like that where it's just like too much. or somebody's hired me to do something and it's like the song is so complex. It's like, what the hell I'm gonna do with this shit? I'm gonna have to let me walk away. Let me go. You know, I mean, because it's just it's so much, and then it'll come to me, and then I'll go at it. But this was, really kind of like a channeling kind of process.
And I guess it was lots of feelings and ideas that you had in you for years. So that finally there was
Absolutely.
a platform.
Plus, I mean, I'm gonna say it again. I mean, I'm a big Miami Vice fan.
There you go. Oh, you know what?
There you go.
You know what? Seriously though, when I heard, was it the next one, which we'll play in a minute.
With Psycho Mini,
literally,
if you
you know
really-
that you know that shot that the camera shot on the wheels, on the Ferrari wheels. You know the one I'm talking about,
That's
right? That's
absolutely
exactly what came to my mind.
Crockett and Tubbs.
Oh my dear God! There you go. Who remembers Miami Vice? Yeah, remember? Yeah, come on. You know the clip I'm talking about, right?
You
camera
guys
on the
might
wheel.
think-
Yeah,
Yeah, you might think it's but listen, that was a
Standard.
cutting edge show.
Yeah.
Okay? It was nothing like it when it came out in 1984 and 1985 or so. And it was done like the show was recorded like it was a movie every week. Cinematic quality, the soundtrack, everything else was cutting edge, clothes, everything about it. I ran into a guy that I buy Levi's a lot. So I'm a denim guy. So there's a guy I met, and he's from the U.S. and he's a guy from California. We just got to talking. He's like, yeah, man, just like Miami Vice. I was like, wait a minute, you like Miami Vice? And we described the same thing. It was just such a cutting edge show, and it brought a lot of innovation. And if you go back and you study the soundtrack, it kind of tells the story of the times. You know what I mean? And so I always go back to that. People are into yacht rock and all this other kind of stuff too. You know what I'm saying? It's a yacht rock album. I mean, and kraut rock album. Then,
But it's that fusion of live and electronic, like you're saying.
Absolutely,
Yeah, lots of kind of like Oberheim style pads.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Not so much on the Jan Hammer tip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But because Jan was doing some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
But people don't know he comes from Weather Report.
Absolutely.
So even the soundtrack, even though we laugh at it now, but that was nothing sounded like that before.
Absolutely.
And all those kind of things, like when they're public like that, and they're rather in the public, they influence how people think, regardless of whether or not they know it or not. So there was a new introduction of sound with that show.
Absolutely. I could completely
You know what I
agree,
mean?
yeah.
So a lot of innovation. And so I use a lot of source material myself.
So apart from the sound, did you level up your wardrobe because of?
Oh, he's asked me if I had sharks
Yes,
skin
man,
suits and shit. No,
Of course you did. I
no,
can see you. In
yeah. People don't know. I mean, Armani and Johnny
There you
Versace
go. You know
and
that.
all the rest of the a lot of the stuff that you saw on the Hugo Boss.
Yeah,
these are labels that became popular at that time because of that show. So a lot of the fashion that you have and innovation comes out of that show too. But growing up in Chicago, I've said this before. If you were into house music, we were fashion people. We were like kids and what do you call it? Coming of age kids that had big imaginations. So we were always studying things in the world. We were collecting a lot of European magazines and fashion magazines and things of that nature. So that's why when a show like that came out, it had the music and the fashion together. It was perfect. It was the perfect combination for us. It fit right along with where we were at. So, a lot of us gravitated to that. And actually that influenced how we dressed. You know what I mean? Gucci on down. I mean, seriously, yeah.
I want to see if these guys have got any questions. If you've got any questions, if you have a question at the front here, please just wait for the mic, okay? There you go.
Hi. Hello.
1 second.
1, 2. Hi, it's Dudier from Madrid. And you mentioned before that when you were going to produce a new track, you were starting with the chords,
Turn them up a little bit.
or you like it to start with the chords, no? A new song when it's your own track. When you are going to tackle a remix of other electronic music producer, do you have any kind of process? Do you start at any specific point?
You're asking if when I'm approaching a original production versus a remix, is there an approach? Is that
Yeah,
what you're?
when they hire you, for example, for remixing another artist song.
Well, it really depends. It really depends on what the source of inspiration is for the remix. Certain things are more melodic, certain things are more percussive, and depending on what the direction is that I want to take for producing that song, I will take that approach. And I really normally like to start with melody, though. Chords are very important. Chords are the mood makers in anything. To be honest with you, if you have chords, it's going to set the tone for where it's going to go. Some people approach it from a more of a minimalistic standpoint. Bass heavy, repetition, da da da. That's not necessarily my thing. I believe in melody and mood, i.e., deep house. People that associate deep house with jazzy, moody chords. I remember for the longest time, and we're like, "Oh, music's so melancholy, and it makes me feel something." Exactly, that's what the fuck it's supposed to do. But I mean, that was the thing, is that once again we studied songs, song form, blues chords, jazz chords, things of that nature. Even if we weren't classically trained, if you will, we approached it from more of that, fingering and finding things that would create a mood, and that's kind of like the approach. So a remix might be that way. It might be that I want to create an atmosphere, so I'll go for the chords. If it's more percussive, drums. So but it depends. It really depends. Yeah. I hope I answered the question because I couldn't really. Yeah,
Thanks.
Cool. Thank you. Anyone else? Cool. Question here. Mm, mm, mm.
Hey, how's it going?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this track. Still, like, phenomenal.
Respect, brother.
Thank you so much. You mentioned earlier that you've been collaborating with like the late Casey Benjamin and a few others. Are there any upcoming artists that you're currently like working with or in talks or want to work with?
Well, like I said, we have Stanley Jordan on this new one. Um, there are a few others that I can't necessarily mention just yet, but I can say, I guess now, I did remixes on Karungbin again for Texas Sun, so that's coming. And well, you guys probably remember the single, or what the case may be. But the other stuff I can't really mention just yet, just because you know
Yeah,
business. But there are a few interesting things in the can. I don't know if you guys got the Ash Walker. You guys familiar with Ash Walker?
no,
It's from the UK.
okay,
He's a really dope artist. But I did remixes on Ash, and it's actually one of the last tracks that um, our dear brother Amp Fiddler did. And if you haven't heard, it's called Afronaut. Check that out. But a lot of people making transitions. It's very interesting. Um, yeah, a lot of transitions. The transitions this year. Wow. But yeah, the thing with Casey really still affects me, man. That's like really very very talented brother. I was really looking forward to working with that brother. We had met each other in Berlin, as a matter of fact, and we carried on a friendship. And um, I remember he first heard the album, and I sent him some tracks. He was like, "Yeah, man, this is like Thomas Dolby meets blah blah blah." I was like, "Yeah, but you get it, you got it." And we just didn't get a chance to work. He couldn't actually get in the studio to record. It was the problem. That's the reason why it didn't happen, because he couldn't access the studio. Pandemic. And then when we got in a position to do something, um, uh, yeah, he's gone. So, but anyway, I know I'm just. But yeah, there's a few things coming. Let's put it like that. A few things coming. I actually wanted to work with George Benson on this new album, but George had a accident with his arm. So Stanley Jordan is not a bad
It's not
replacement.
bad. Not at all. Unselfish Sonny Jordan any day, mate.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Question.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Question in the front here. Yeah.
How you doing?
How you doing, brother?
Nice to see you.
It's kind of that mic is low. Can we turn him up a little taste?
Shall I? Is that okay? Shall I speak louder? Yeah. So I really enjoyed the show last night. It was fantastic.
Oh man,
by the
thank
way.
you, man.
I noticed that you were playing some instruments yourself.
Yeah.
You on percussion and keyboard, obviously, and was it bass guitar or?
I played like maybe on the second track. I played some guitar on that, and then I let the guy who's a master guitarist play, because I'm more of a guitarist. I can do rhythm guitar,
Yes.
and then I think I can be great in the studio, but on stage I'm not confident enough. You know, I sing too, but I'm not confident enough to sing. The band members were trying to get me to sing. One of the set choices is a song we have coming from the next album, and I'm singing on it.
Sorry, say that again. Sorry, I didn't hear that bit.
I said, so, but the bottom line is that, the idea was to, kind of showcase the talent that I have, myself and the talent of others as well, and it was about choosing the right musicians to do that. And so me and my team, got together, we pulled that together, and it worked out great. I did at first, which is why it took me a while to get some guys together in Chicago. And part of the problem I was having there was reference points. So when I was talking to some of the younger musicians, they were great players. But if I referenced Azimuth or a few others, it was like, who's that? Well, I don't know about that. It was like, oh, shit. So it was going to be a whole teaching process, which I don't mind doing, but you need time. You know what I mean? Because reference is so important when you're making or creating, because you can pull from that library, right? And access. And a lot of younger musicians or great jazz musicians and stuff, they know a lot of the greats and they can play their asses off. Or you can get a great player, but feeling, you can't really teach that. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, on stage, it was about myself and collaboration. That's what it was about. And if I did a band, I didn't want it to be a situation where, no diss to others. I just didn't want to be the guy, not participating. I'm just going to keep it like that. And I play instruments. I feel more comfortable on percussion, playing a little guitar and playing keys. So that's what I did, and some effects, So
Is there any instrument that you'd like to learn that you haven't played?
bass guitar.
Sure.
Yeah, bass guitar is next, and I'm gonna put that. I need some time though. I need some time, but I want to sit with that because I feel that's coming. But with any instrument, you got to sit down and deal with it. You got to wrestle with the instrument. And put your spirit with that spirit and make it happen. It's not just about learning, because I thought about taking classes and stuff like that too. But that can kind of mess up your mind a little bit. I think Herbie has. He told one of my great percussionist friends, my man Angel Figueroa. Word up, a lot of bass. My man Angel Figueroa was Herbie Hancock's percussionist. He's one of the great mentors and teachers. Ooh. And he played on the This Is Drumming album. But one of the quotes that he gave from Herbie is that he got from Herbie is that learn the technique and forget it.
I do like that.
You know what I mean? Because then you can have the freedom to let the spirit come in to do what you need to do. Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you for your question. I just want to circle back to Crockett and Tubbs for a bit, if that's all right with you. So the next track is called On My Way Home. And for those of you who can remember Miami Vice, remember the scene I was telling you about. For those of you who don't remember Miami Vice, if you can everyone close your eyes and imagine a sunset and you're in a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, whatever car you want. It has to be like $250,000 at least.
He's got it.
And,
my job is done now.
And you've just got the freeway to deal with, right? And you're full of gas or electric version, and you can just put your foot down, right? So close your eyes And let's go. Everyone
Close
got
my
your eyes
eyes.
closed?
Close my eyes.
Okay.
Personal soundtrack. That's what it is. That's what the
Indeed.
album's about.
Indeed.
You know. Also, I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, one of the things that that was a point of interest for me for this album was kind of to really accentuate private moments. Um, I even bought a stereo system for my bedroom again, and I would reference the tunes on my, in that environment because it was like your own little personal soundtrack, whether it be in the car, whether it be in the bedroom. I wanted it to be music that you could listen to in the house or in the car, and enjoy it.
Connect, right?
And wherever you may have been at the moment, if it was on the dance floor, if that's what you want to do. But a lot of the music that we play or that started us off was music that we used to play in our living rooms. It's family music.
Yeah.
You know,
Your parents' records, right? And
yeah.
Mm.
So that tune is to me. I mean, it brings Alan Parsons project and a few other things from that era. That sound, and you can hear it and you feel it. But watch Miami Vice. But but it's sentimental also as that record.
Absolutely. I mean, it conjures up all the emotions and inspiration from that era for sure. In fact,
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's a car record too.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
got a car,
Yeah.
you drive and you want to go driving down the highway. It's one of those records.
Absolutely.
Cinematic moment,
So with the live show, you talked a lot about having different hats for this record, right? So how do you then go from actually making the record? Okay, it's recorded now. Now you have to go into MD mode, musical director mode, and take this album that's very precious to you, now take it on the road. How's that been for you?
Well, I mean, it's been interesting because we had some complications at first. Of course, you may have seen in the news. I mean, we had a guy that came on that was trying to represent us that misrepresented us, and me and the team teamed up, and we were able to canvas a European group and good selections. Mrs. Avalon did a great job curating, a group of guys that I could work with, and the chemistry worked, and then we were able to, luckily, because trust me, it doesn't work all the time. And then, I canvassed different guitarists in the area. Me and Nathan Haynes, on the other end, you guys know who Nathan?
It was great to see Nathan and Haynes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That came out of a conversation we had in New Zealand. Nathan's from New Zealand. And so we were able to, I told him, hey, man, I'm, plan on doing the band. I think I'm going to be at We're Out Here Festival. He's like, I'm going to be there too. So that's how that happened. And we manifested that last night. So, and that came together really yesterday. Like we talked about it, but that was the first time we kind of like, we did sound check and then he played. So it just worked, and yeah, I mean, that's kind of like how, it came to fruition.
And how's it been for you, like having to take the responsibility of musical director? You're obviously playing in a band, sort of.
It was stressful.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you, because the way that things came down, it was a lot of stuff on the back end, but it was stressful. But once again, I had moved, in those kind of circles before, with playing with bands and stuff like that in New York City. So I kind of was able to wear that hat, and it was a job that needed to get done. So we did our best to fulfill the gigs and things of nature that was set up for us, and we got through it. So we appreciate your support, man. I mean, it's been very trying.
But the testament was a fantastic gig with amazing musicians, and music that really connects with people. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, no, man.
Yeah.
More to come.
Mm.
More to come.
Yeah, what is next for you and Warm? And
So, new album coming and some more performances.
when?
Good question.
Mhm.
We'll see. No, but it should be, hopefully by the next year we should have something in the can and ready to go.
And this is a track with you singing. It's got tracks with you singing on it, right?
Yeah, I'm singing on the last album too. So you didn't know that. Endless Love.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so
That's good. All right.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you didn't come on stage. Well, okay.
Man,
Well, you have to promise us something, though.
I can do maybe
We're
do
gonna
the
be
Miles
we're gonna be-
Davis
we're gonna be
thing or
testing
something.
here. So the next show
sing
you
with
do,
my
right?
back to you. Or something. But I'm not ready just yet.
No, okay. When the
Yeah.
time comes, yeah, let us know, and we'll be there.
Yeah. Hope you're enjoying that too.
I'm sure they'll be up for a remix.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
ready.
So you playing anywhere else soon?
Well, I'm playing tonight at 1:00 in the Bowl, I believe it is. And yeah, so 4 hours. So we'll be able to do a little something. And then I'm supposed to maybe go in Greece after that, and then I'll be back in London, and then we're doing a few more things.
And this is you as Ron Trent DJ and the band. How are you going to fit both of the projects in? How's that? How are you going to navigate that?
Well, right now, I mean, what we have on the table is mainly me DJing. After this, I gotta retool, for the band situation. There was a lot of moving around, and it's a lot of team effort, man. I tell you, a lot of background stuff, But I'm looking forward to. I'm not going to say we got to be careful how we talk. I'm not going to say I'm looking to more challenges, because I'm not. I'm looking forward to doing some more great things.
No, but I mean, without getting into talking about, challenges. I mean, a band touring with 7 odd people with your backline and your concept with the curtains and the sound and the concept. That's a pretty penny, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's not cheap. It's not cheap. I mean, it's not for the faint of heart either. I mean, you got to really want to do this. Live performance is a lot. You know what I mean? And a lot of moving parts, a lot of people to be paid, a lot of people with their hands out too. And you even have thieves that want to take your money before you even get there, which is what happened. So I'm very unfortunate. I never in my my whole career experienced anything like that before, but it won't happen again. But yeah, we straightened it out, and we're moving forward. Yeah.
And what advice would you give to producers and artists who can take inspiration from what they saw last night, and obviously when they hear the record?
Well, I say this all the time. I said it in the last video, right? Study, study, study. Take your time. You know, everybody wants to be famous, you know, nowadays, and it's easy to be famous. But what people lack nowadays sometimes is content. You know what I mean? They lack content and experience, and that's what makes them go and fade fast. So if you take your time, you know, what they say, slow burn, long burn, it's the truth. You know, if you know what you're doing, then it's going to show. You know what I mean? And I think that people need to study the craft and study the people that came before them, give respect to that, move forward, stop, think, you know, move forward. And that way you can carry the torch properly. You know what I mean? So
We've been studied. Ron Trent, thank you very much indeed, man.
right.
Give it up for him.
Thank you. Thank you.